I do think Emily is going to come for Tamra because her and Tamra at the reunion were going at it. They have not settled that beef. And if you ask me, I'm sure Tamra didn't want her back because Tamra's kind of on weak footing. She tried to make an alliance with Katie. Obviously, Katie's not back. Emily isn't happy with her. So Gina will be okay with Tamra, but she never really trusts her. And Emily is her girl. Shannon has no use for her. She's got Vicky, but you know how many times they've turned on each other? That is as thin as I wouldn't skate on that ice. Welcome to Cocktails and Gossip, the podcast where we drink cocktails, but you better believe we're going to spill the tea. We chat reality TV, celebrity blinds, and the hottest tea from BravoandCocktails.com. And as always, it's all alleged and just for fun. We do not verify our blinds. I'm B.
And I'm Amanda. Let's get into this week's tea.
What's up, cocktailers? Amanda, I sort of feel like we're on the girls' trip because every single city that we've been in, we have cocktailers there sending us videos, sending us pictures. We have so much insider scoop that you won't hear anywhere else.
Cocktailers are everywhere. We're everywhere. I love it. And hey,
oh my God. And the housewives don't care and they just spill stuff and they tell them stuff on location and it is so good. And there is stuff I haven't even made posts yet and I haven't even told you. Some of it I have to save for cocktail party, but
okay. Understandable. You know what I find interesting too about this whole trip is Bravo seems to be embracing that we all kind of want to see a little behind the scenes content and is so letting them post their videos. Like Kyle just did one in a fur coat. You know, we saw Melissa and Teresa posting. I mean, all like so many of them have been posting and Bravo's seeming to, I'm sure they're having to approve stuff, but they're seeming to let them. And I think it's smart because I think it gets us all excited to see what the heck this show is going to actually turn into be because I think it's going to be so good.
And I think that so much of it ends up getting leaked when followers send it to us anyway.
Yeah.
They're like, you know what?
That's so true. First, before we get into all of that, yesterday you went on Kiki, Monique, and Dorinda's show on Radio Andy, Reality Checked. It was so fun to hear you guys chat. I love Kiki, by the way. I love her. I love Dorinda too, but like obviously love Kiki.
I love Kiki. And you know, Kiki was involved in that whole OC, which you guys will remember. And a lot of people would inbox me and ask me. And I said to them, what I said on her pod too, is that I don't know Kiki in person, but she is an account. Her and I came up at the same time. Well, she's actually had her account, but she turned it into what it is around the same time. And she's just a good content creator. She's awesome podcast and she shares good content. And I very much was always on her side throughout it because people want to say, oh, she's a clout chaser. And not at all. She was dragged into something. We had so much fun on the pod. We legit did Kiki. And I feel like now when there's like breaking news, I want to hop on there and like chat with her. It was fun. It was really cool. And it's so fun to go on other people's pods because when we're on our own pod, we have to like think about what we're going to talk about and like make sure it's fresh.
Yeah.
And make sure it's up to date and how we want to say things. And so when you go on someone else's pod and they just ask you questions and it's just stream of conscious, it's like a fever dream because you don't really remember what you said. And there's also no prep and there's no pressure.
Yeah, but you're so good in that format too.
Oh,
it was really fun to listen to you guys. Okay, so much going on this week. Obviously, so much about the girls' trip that has been filming. Last week we shared we shared all the themes of the trip and then have been posting stuff on our social. We've also been seeing the ladies all sharing, as we had mentioned. Very happy to hear that Kim Zolciak was at Nene's party in Atlanta.
Yes. I knew she would be there. We had heard she'd be there. We knew she'd be there. But until you see it, because she hasn't been on our screens on Bravo in so long. I mean,
Right.
Either has Nene. So it was so cool to see them together. Speaking of Kim, Croy did a really weird post. And he had, like, in one of the pictures, first of all, he's wearing a Louis Vuitton beanie, which everyone was like, Croy, like, you're not with Kim anymore. Like, if it was all her with the labels and with the spending, yet here
Right.
you are. Point taken. And he had these tiniest women's hands on his
It was
face.
so bizarre. So bizarre.
So, of course, a cocktailer did find out who the person was. I mean, you guys are like legit. She's not a public entity, so I will not share it. She's seems to be a photographer. So guys, it was not a child's hands because everyone was like, this is creepy, B. I'm like, it's not a kid's hands. It was just his way of soft launching the fact that he's no longer crying over Kim. And like, is it a coincidence that he does a post when she's getting some limelight? No. And that's why I will stand by this. And for as long as I live, I will say it. When people want to slam one spouse or partner, I always say, you know what? The other partner can't be too far behind them. The other partner's got to be okay in co-signing. When you're with somebody for a number of years, you know very well who they are. And if you're okay with it, as Croy was, you can't then break up and make it like they're the worst person in the whole world.
Of course. Yeah, that beanie definitely sent me. It was a very interesting choice of photo for a soft lunch. You know, Croy, give him points for creativity because like a lot of people will show the shadow of somebody walking with them on the beach or their hand on a glass. Instead, we have baby hands on his face. It was a choice.
Does he? Okay, he may have an enormous head.
Yeah. I just, again, like, what?
I feel like he's a bit of a jughead.
It was real not It was just odd. Not my favorite, but okay. We hear you loud and clear, Croy. You have a new lady in your life. But all of this road trip tea, and I know it's got a new name that is not rolling off my tongue, but all the behind the scenes info, like it's getting me so excited to watch.
Oh, the new one is
Roaring 20s.
Roaring 20s.
Yeah.
Because it's the 20th anniversary. I like it. You don't like it?
No, I think it's good. I think that it just doesn't roll off my tongue yet. It will. I think that it's an interesting choice in that they're clearly giving it some separation, making it its own thing. Obviously, this would not be something that they would take on every year. I'm hoping that it doesn't also mean that we're never going to get any other girls' trip shows, but we'll see about that.
I don't think it means that. First of all, this trip, not only was this trip an undertaking, but then the storm hit. And let me tell you guys, like I have to check my, I have an account, a local person that I follow on Facebook. If we get hit again this weekend, it's just by you. Do other places, how do you dispose of this snow? Because all I know is New York City spent like $1 billion on new garbage pails. I would like them to spend $1 billion on whatever those machines are that other places have where they like melt the snow or suction it or something.
Oh, I haven't seen those. I mean, it depends. Like by me, if there's like a really, really big snow, they pile it up, like in a parking lot, or they'll do it like on a street corner. Every once in a while, when there's like a really big, crazy one, they will kind of truck it off and like put it in a parking lot if there's no good, places on the street to kind of push it to if there's that much snow. I can only imagine in New York, like I remember I lived in Chicago there for a while and in the city. And when they would get huge snows there, it would be like a huge deal to dig your car out and all of that. And so what people started doing, because we got this one crazy snowstorm, like more than a foot, maybe 2, people would start putting folding chairs out when they would leave their parking spot because their parking spot was dug out and they didn't want anybody else to take it.
That's funny. Wait, funny. Speaking of Chicago, I'm going to go on a little tangent. I shared a meme with like all the best pizzas and they had New York pizza and Detroit pizza and of course Chicago deep dish. And I can't tell you the amount of DMs I got saying nobody actually eats deep dish. They eat tavern pizza. What is it called?
Tavern pizza? Oh,
it's like thin pizza.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I know what that is.
I don't think it's tavern. There was another name for it. Now I'm getting yelled at again. I call it a bar pie. Like it's kind of like
I'm not a big fan. I love a Detroit style pizza, which is like a really big kind of pan pizza where they put the sauce over the cheese and like it all kind of bubbles over. I love that. But I don't love the deep dish. It's just like, it's literally like imagine a pie with a bunch of cheese and then tomato sauce on top. And it's just,
So we had Pizza Uno here. It was a chain.
Yeah. They have deep dish.
Right.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't think it doesn't exist by me anymore. I don't think it exists anymore. But for years we had it. So I grew up with that. But no, people were like, no one in Chicago eats deep dish. They all eat. And I can't think of what the word was, but it's essentially like a bar pie, like almost like a cracker with the cheese on it, like thinnest of crusts.
Which I enjoy. I enjoy it.
Yes, I enjoy that too. Especially like when you're in a bar and like you're not hungry, but you need to eat something to coat that belly.
I'm doing nothing about that. I don't know what that's about. Okay, we digress because now I'm getting hungry. So girls trip, back to girls trip. Okay, I know. We know that everything's going to end in the Berkshires at Bluestone Manor, but currently today the ladies are in New York.
Wait, do you call it Berkshires? I call it Berkshires.
Berkshires. Oh gosh, guys, don't come at me.
I don't know. I could be saying in New York to say the Berkshires. So, of course, they're stopping in New York City. They're actually in New York City right now. Okay, so tonight they're having a Halloween party. Luann's hosting. Dolores missed her flight, so she didn't film in Miami. Jacqueline Larita did film in Miami with Teresa and Melissa and a bunch of the other ladies. Huge scramble, but yesterday, and it was funny because me, Tracy, and Amanda were texting each other because we found out that today, as we speak, they are doing a gangster lunch. So we were like, okay, where is this gangster lunch going to be? Because we told you guys there were 2 iconic Italian restaurants. The first is Parkside, which is where Tracy and I took Amanda. The second is a place that we talked about in the Bronx, which the next time you come, we're bringing you. It's called Nove. It's interesting. It's a fantastic restaurant. It's iconic, but it's not like a red sauce place. Now, it's in Bronx's Little Italy, but it's more fine dining, I would say, like interesting dishes, elevated. It isn't like your traditional like chicken parm. I mean, I'm sure you can get that there.
Do you think they have that?
You know I'm going to find it. No, it's like become the funniest thing now because now my husband is always like, should we look around for some Zabayon? And I'm like, all right, now you and Amanda are just making fun of me because you clinged onto that the same way that he always does, where it's like because his point is you don't even know what it is. You've always had too much wine. You always have one bite of it, but when they don't have it, it's just devastation. You know, I like the presentation of it. I don't know.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. So this is where the clip, where Dorinda got drunk and
with that green shirt where her arms out going clip. So I'm minding my business this afternoon. I get a text and the woman says, my husband is on Arthur Avenue in the Bronx having lunch with a couple of his friends, sends her a picture of a cutout of Dorinda, and he says, apparently Bravo is filming something here today. So, of course, the wife is like, yeah, I know about the gangster lunch. We weren't sure which Italian restaurant it was going to be in. And he's like, what are you talking about? And she's like, Bravo and cocktails. And he's like, good, our subscription is actually paying off. Very funny. So he sends that. And then she sends me another message. And now she's like capital letters screaming, freaking Carol Radziwill walked in. And God bless her husband who recognized her. I don't know if he recognized her. He recognized enough to know, okay, this must be one of the women. Let me get my wife a picture.
Yeah.
I have to tell you something. I don't know if we've discussed this, but in this picture, it is quite evident. Carol Radziwill's facelift is looking nice.
All right. I gotta zoom in closer because she's wearing I was like, oh, she looks good.
She's wearing a mafia outfit.
Yeah.
Here, you know what? I'm going to text you like the whole picture because in that one I just zoomed into her face. She looks so good.
And she's got
her face looks really good.
Oh, she does. Wow.
I think she must have also done a bleh on the eyes.
Yeah.
So you guys, if you scroll, because you're probably like, why are you guys talking about a picture we can't see? You can see it. It is on the post with Dorinda. It's the second slide. So I remember I said to you guys yesterday, I was like, if they have Luann's party at night, like there's so many women they have to like gather up and getting them all to the Bronx or to Queens. I'm like, I bet you they just do a restaurant in Manhattan. But you and Tracy didn't agree with me and you guys were right. You were like, no, it's going to be one of the two.
The party, the party can start much later. I'm sure it'll all be fine. Now I'm just getting worried about how if they all get snowed in the Berkshires. No, I'm saying it on purpose.
First of all, they're staying at the Red Barn Inn or whatever, that Red Lion Inn. No, none of them are staying at Dorinda's house, someone told me.
But what if they all get snowed in up there? Can you imagine? That's when we really need Andy and a camera.
Oh, I hope they do. But you know what? If they're staying in a hotel, they'll probably just stay in their rooms.
Yeah, I guess.
So directly across the street from 089, trying to say it the correct way, is Madonna Bakery. And now I'm not even like a sweets person. Oh, the smells of the place. It's like so good. It's so good. And then there's this other place. What is it called? The Bronx Market or something. And it's all different. So they sell like produce, like vegetable stands and stuff. It's okay. And so this is common now. You know how you see cannoli chips with cannoli dip. So that was a thing that I first saw, I don't know, 25 years ago at this market in the Bronx. And it was like, it wasn't even a thing. Like basically this one little stand would like put them out for people to like take samples. And then over time it like turned into a thing where I guess people loved it and they sold it. And now it's at like ShopRite and like just regular supermarkets. Guys, this is a food pod now. So
I know. You are really making me hungry.
But then in the middle, they have like this beer garden. Like it's, oh my God. Just tell your husband he's coming back to New York.
Yeah, next time we come, we're going to have to go check that out.
And then they have like delis where you could just like have them slice you like a little antipasta platter. And then you go to the next one for like some fish and like it's too much.
Oh, that's so good.
It's too good.
Cocktailers, the cold winter can make anyone feel a little down in the dumps. One of the things for me that makes it better is making yummy, warming, hearty meals with my Caraway products. Over the weekend, I made shakshuka, which those of you guys who watch RHONY will know is a favorite of Erin Leachy's. And I also made avgolemono soup, which I hope I pronounced that right. It's like a Greek lemon, chicken, and rice soup. It just feels so nice to be inside, cozy, and cooking on a Sunday afternoon. And let me tell you, our Caraway kitchenware works like a dream, looks beautiful on our stovetop, and it is so easy to clean. I know I talk a lot about how easy the Caraway products are to clean, but I've never talked about why. Caraway's kitchenware is made of ceramic, and ceramic's naturally slick surface means minimal oil or butter needs to be used, and you can get slide off the pan eggs, and then of course easy cleaning. I also have my eye on Caraway's butcher blocks. They're made of thick premium wooden surfaces crafted with walnut and wood, because making soups like I did last weekend does require a lot of chopping. Over 100,000 people have rated 5 stars about their Caraway kitchen. Now it's time to try it for yourself. Caraway's cook set is a favorite for a reason, and it can save you up to $190 versus buying the items individually. If you visit carawayhome.com/gossip, you can take an additional 10% off your next purchase. This deal is exclusive for cocktailers, so visit carawayhome.com/gossip or use code GOSSIP at checkout. Caraway, non-toxic kitchenware made modern. So we also earlier this week, because we know they were in Miami, we got a video from someone who actually lives there who spotted all the ladies as they were filming a wig snatching competition on the beach. B, I know you posted the video on social.
I did. We love live footage. A lot of the feedback in the DMs was that it's corny, but they have to do like stuff like that because the corny stuff does lead these women to get into actual fights.
And we love some of the corny stuff. Like some of the stuff I think that makes Salt Lake City so good is some of the corny stuff, like the women all wearing they were murdered outfits on the yacht, and the women all wearing their Boston Tea Party wigs while they're savagely fighting. It's so good. I fully support the corniness.
Also, there was tons of media speculation that Portia and Vicky got into it. That's wrong. Giselle and Vicky got into it.
Who did Portia get into it with then? Because who did she write that post about?
I don't know if the beef kind of spread, and who knows? Yeah. I mean, listen, you have all of these personalities. Jill Zarin is also filming in New York, so I'm sure she's at the gangster lunch. The gangster lunch is going to be gangster because you're going to have Dorinda there feeling as if this is my lunch because clip.
Yeah.
And then Luann gets her little party, but then I get an overnight at Bluestone Manor. So she's going to be acting all bossy, and we love when Dorinda's bossy. Jill is going to take exception because even though she was only on a couple seasons, she sees herself as the, original. The
founding mother of RHONY. Yes, she
does.
That's
right.
Yes, she does.
Yes, she does. And then you have Carol Radziwill, who just gets under their skin, especially Luann's.
Oh, and she enjoys it too. That's the part I love about it. Is she knows exactly what she's doing and enjoying the whole time.
And you know that Luann is going to act holier than thou because she's a cabaret queen now. And you know that Carol is going to say something slick.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be good. And then we still have, right? We still have Kyle. We still have who else? Teresa. We've got, well, we don't have Tamara. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Oh, but can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
So we know that Bethany likes to act like she's above it and she doesn't care about Bravo, but there were paparazzi pictures of her this week, coincidentally, as all these photos of all the OG iconic housewives all together having a wonderful time, getting so much attention. And then there are paparazzi pictures of her with a gentleman. Thing about it is, one of her neighbors told me that she was on her own block in Boca, and you and I both know there are no paparazzi in Boca. Perhaps on Lincoln Road in Miami there are, but they're not in Boca.
Right.
So somebody was feeling left out of all the attention and seemingly called the Pats.
Yeah.
Heather Dubrow style.
And also which again, prayers to Bethany for this, but I also noticed the timing of her announcing that she has some form of, I can't remember what exactly it was, but some form of kidney disease. But okay, Bethany, like, again, prayers, and hopefully she can take care of herself and live a long, healthy life. But
apparently it's very curable, treatable. You have to stay hydrated. Like, obviously nobody wants to have any deficit in their body, but it isn't like a life.
Yeah, currently life-threatening.
Yes, exactly. Like, obviously left untreated, and
it would.
You know, I'm sure that Bethany takes good care of herself and will be diligent and do everything she needs to do with the best of the best.
Right. By the way, speaking of Miami, during filming, we noticed that Gertie and Julia were not there. Lisa had a party. Alexia, Marisol, Larsa, Adriana, and Kiki were there, though.
And cocktailers know we posted that Gertie and Julia were out and they won't be back. So I wasn't surprised. Gertie actually also posted a picture of herself and wrote something like moving on.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that will be officially announced closer to filming. I'm still waiting and hopeful that after the girls' trip wraps up, we'll get some names for who the newbies in Miami are. Yeah, I'm sad to see Gertie go for sure. But I also feel like I hope we continue to see her in other capacities, but it was very clear without Dr. Nicole, she really was like the odd man out. Not that I'm saying it's right, but I kind of get the network's decision. It's hard to film a group when people are doing that.
Yeah, I agree. I'll miss Gertie, but I won't miss Julia.
No.
Just a little more about Girls Trip. Kenya Moore made a video and came out and said the reason that she is not filming is because of legal stuff. She said, of course, it has nothing to do with whether or not they thought I was a legendary housewife. She said it was a legal thing. So we know that during season 16 of Atlanta, Kenya was suspended for showing explicit photos of who at the time was thought to be Britt Eady. And then something that we pointed out kind of here on the pod and that we posted about is Portia keeps getting the main roles. Even Kenya agreed it should have been Nene or Sheree, but it sounded like Nene couldn't do it because of some sort of family concern. But, you know, we heard that NBC Universal has some sort of deal with Portia. Kenya even actually mentioned that too. So my question for you, back to this legal thing. Do you think she's referring to the Britt Eady issue, or do you think there's something else? My thought is, if it is the Britt Eady situation, and that is still kind of heading towards litigation, towards court, I would imagine it would put Bravo and Kenya both in a bad situation if Kenya were to film. It could look like collusion, you know, like favoritism. I think it could be bad for both of them in that case.
I haven't heard that Kenya is suing the network, but I do think it's about the Britt Eady. I think she's likely named in the lawsuit. So I would guess it's more a matter of caution on Bravo's part. The good news is that if she hasn't sued, once this Britt Eady lawsuit is resolved, like, she didn't sound resentful towards Bravo in the video. Yeah. So I think that they've probably said to her, like, we have to let this shake out and then you'll be back in the Bravo sphere. That's my guess.
Yeah, I think you're right. I will say sometimes going on pause is not such a bad thing. And I think it could be good for Kenya because even before that whole Brit situation on that season, Kenya was acting wild and like just not quite, she just didn't seem quite herself. So I think a pause could do her well.
I thought you said a podcast. I was like,
Oh,
what?
a pause. No, like going
A
on
pause.
Yeah.
100%. I think sometimes these women, they are big personalities and it's why we tune in and it's why we love them. But we've seen it time and time again. We saw it with Nene. We've seen it with Vicky. We've seen it with Tamara. We've seen it with so many of them. Sometimes they need to be checked. I think that Kenya was in a situation where Nene was gone and she was like the strongest person and she had Portia and she was like overexcited to like do the damn thing and it didn't serve her.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
I would hope to see her again though.
Absolutely. I would hope to see her again. You just like, I feel like Tamara's a good example. Like it lasts for so long and then they're back to like, you are who you are.
Your old ways. Yeah. Well, and their egos get quite large. And, I think the lesson is they can't get bigger than the egos can't get bigger than the show.
And I think at this point, we have to all understand, not us, that every single person is a person. These are ensemble casts. So nobody is bigger than the show itself. Now, no one person is bigger than the show itself.
Absolutely. So we have to talk about the Salt Lake City reunion.
Yes.
Now, part 3 is over. We're closing the book on season 6. And Meredith, as they've tried to kind of pin her down a couple of times during this reunion. And, they bring up the whole, if you guys will remember, all the ladies noticed during the Greece trip that Meredith was off. When asked about it, she refers to something bigger that I can't get into, and that's what she was really upset about in Greece. And you guys know she has a way of always calling something out. There's something else going on that you guys just don't need to know about. It's a very big pattern we've seen with Meredith. On the reunion, Andy guesses that the something bigger was that she was mad at production, which she then confirmed, but she did not.
And I think the women were waiting for Andy to give them the go-ahead, like if they should go there.
Yes, I agree. Yes. Because it set off a little tidal wave once you said that. Whitney first calls her out to say, you shouldn't blame production for things that are wrong. Like, you can't blame them for your behavior, your comments, your decisions. And then the other women piled on and said, that they had a problem with that too.
100%. Like when Meredith got the phone call and she was in the midst of an argument, I'm sure the production asked her not to take it. She took it anyway. It's Mother's Day. It's Brooks. I have to talk to him. You're in the middle of a heated scene. I absolutely see where production is coming from. Their job is to produce a good show, and you're interrupting a scene that they need. I think the women did a good job of explaining to us, the audience, how Meredith does these things to get out of scenes. And I also feel like Whitney had such a good point when she was like, production are our people. They are our team. We would be nothing without them. Like, they have worked with us over all of these years. They've dealt with all of us, all the crazy situations. And everybody agreed. Well, except Lisa, who of course is like,
she was just quiet, noticeably quiet during that whole conversation.
Yeah, they just do so much for them, helping them through situations, making a good reality show. They have to pull rank. And the fact that Meredith clearly complains often and loudly, so much so that Andy is aware of it, it's quite honestly messed up. And I just can't understand whom it is that loves her so much. I feel like she thinks she's smarter than everybody, and I don't mean to insinuate that she isn't smart. Clearly, Meredith is a very bright woman, but I don't like when smart people think that they can trick everybody, and she's not tricking production, she's not tricking the other women, she's not tricking Andy, and she's not tricking us.
Right.
Enough. Either come and do the job as all the other women on the cast do, or don't be a housewife.
I could not agree more. I actually had this exact same thought watching, because everybody piles on Lisa for saying she's above everybody and lives a much bigger life than everyone else. But, Meredith doesn't so much say it, but she acts it. Exactly to your point. Like all of these women were probably wishing they could talk to their kids on Mother's Day. And then, Meredith gets mad at them and at production about it because she thinks she's got a special case. Yeah, I fully agree that is a pattern with her. Moving on to Bronwyn, I thought she was pretty forthcoming about her separation from Todd. She didn't give us any juicy details like I found XY texts, I found confirmation he was cheating, any of that really. She had said he had made some decisions that she didn't agree with, but she did confirm that she was the one to initiate the separation. She said she realized that they weren't kind of working forward or as a team anymore, and that their marriage no longer felt respectful. So she saw from the show, how needy she was, how upset and defensive she was. I really think that seeing this back, not only did she see that she didn't like the way Todd was, but she didn't like the way that she was acting, and that she kind of found herself that in this position where she had put herself, where she was acting in these needy and defensive ways and weren't really who she is either. And I thought that was an insightful look that, it was her too. She wasn't liking the way she was acting either.
And the show has provided her with options in her life that she otherwise wouldn't have had.
Right.
So I think it was a combination of her seeing herself like that and her now having this option, this outlet, this platform, this career. I never believed that she wouldn't be returning, and I certainly don't believe it now. Not only financially, but also personally. I think her daughter is grown. I think she focused a lot on helping her father, who has passed, on raising her daughter, who now is a young adult with a life of her own. And Todd's not around a lot. I don't know if she realized that she was unhappy in her marriage, or to your point, she kind of saw it. I think that she absolutely does have love for Todd and appreciates everything he's done for her over the years with her daughter, with her parents. But as far as the two of them, I think the show, it's hard to know if she knew it and kind of went on the show to have the option, or kind of thought it, or didn't realize it at all. We can't know that. But certainly she has changed how she feels about her marriage, hence initiating the separation. Todd doesn't do himself any favors. Kiki asked me yesterday on the pod when I went on her reality check, did I feel bad when she shared that? And I think Bronwyn's intention was for the ladies and the viewers to feel bad that Todd read everything on the internet about him and how upset he was and how he didn't realize taking the cherry was bad. And he thought she understood that. I don't feel bad for him. And I don't feel bad for him because he doesn't do himself any favors. He had a first season. He continued with his peculiar, callous ways the second season. He is out and about New York City, going on dates with women. I don't feel bad about him. He could have said no to the show. Maybe Bronwyn wouldn't have been cast, but he could have said no. So unfortunately for him, Bronwyn would like everyone to stop talking about him now. And you can't put the rabbit back in the hat. We all know Todd. Todd's going to be around town and people are going to get his pictures. I mean, in time it'll fade. I don't think he's a dynamic personality in the way that other spouses.
Mauricio. Yeah.
Right. Well, Mauricio keeps himself in the spotlight, but there are other people who maybe, I mean, people are going to talk about him. And maybe the women, maybe he won't, if she's not talking about him as part of her storyline.
Yeah.
Perhaps the women will lay off, but am I not going to post a picture of him farting in a bar? No.
We're not getting pictures, for example, to your point. We're not getting pictures of Brooks, Vicky's ex-boyfriend. I'm sure people, cocktailers are seeing him and it's like, meh, not worth the time, not worth the effort, because who cares? And I think he will end up there. I will say I admire Bronwyn sticking up for him, even saying she's PR for Todd, but I laughed out loud when she said she wants to be best friends with Todd and maybe go on double dates down the road. Come on. The Lulu is the Salulu right there.
That's weird. I have to say, I feel like Whitney making, Bronwyn made this big announcement after Whitney, we're having troubles, we're still struggling. And then Bronwyn's like, checkmate, we're separated. And then Whitney gets so upset and walks off stage needing a minute. You and Justin cannot possibly have these issues every year. And then she goes backstage. She's like, we're fine. Calm down. I think that she was nervous about not being asked back next year at a minimum. was expecting a demotion. She was at the end of the couch. Yeah. She's been at the end of the couch for quite a few reunions.
There was no package. Look back on her part of the season on the reunion that we saw, at least. Yeah.
Right. I didn't even realize that. She wanted a moment. I don't think there's enough storyline at this point. I also think that they really want to separate bad weather. And we know they love Heather. So it's not going to be her. So unfortunately, it'll be Whitney on the losing end of that stick. I do definitely think her, like, I don't mean to say her and Justin are fine. Like, we know all marriages have moments and all of those things. Mm-hmm. But I very much believe they've been doing this MLM bullshit, grifting, whatever, the jewelry line where she was ordering the jewelry from DH Gate and then selling it for a lot more money. I believe these were all decisions they made together, which is when she said, oh no, I'm not resentful of him. You can't be resentful of him. Like, you guys are partners. I very much believe that they are cooking this all up together and she knows everything.
I don't think that Whitney is a grifter in that I don't think she set out to scam people on purpose. MLMs are very common in Utah. They're not illegal. I think a lot of them do seem scammy, but they are not illegal.
What about the jewelry? If it's true that she purchased jewelry in bulk on DHgate for very discounted and then sold it for a lot more on her website, that's a grift.
That's not a grift. No, that is literally it's a very established business model. That's what car dealerships do. They buy them at a lower price and then they sell them for a higher price. Like, I don't think buying stuff on DHgate and selling it at a higher price with your own marketing, I don't think that's a grift. I don't agree. I think some MLMs can definitely be grifty. We both watched that LuLaRoe documentary about like the pants. Like, I definitely think that was a grift. But MLMs have been around for a long time, like Amway and all of those others. They definitely have. There's definitely some really scammy ones. But, I think the issue was that Whitney had her brand, but then she decided to change the sales model because Justin, his career has been in administration and he's been an executive in MLMs and understood that sales model, or so Whitney thought. And I think that's where their issue is that he was like, we should make this, we should make Wild Rose Beauty and MLM and we should do all of that. And it failed miserably. And I think Whitney put all of her faith and they both put all their money and it didn't work. And I think that's what that's been a real actual point of contention for them. I don't know. I definitely agree with you, though. She was definitely looking for a moment. I think she should be nervous. Also, because she had that on-stage drugginess at Robin. So yep. I will say, though, I still like Whitney and I don't want to see her go. Did want to say something else, though. And this is one of those situations where I'm kicking myself for not taking a screenshot. So I can't give credit to whoever this was. But whoever this was, it was not one of the bigger kind of Bravo accounts. You guys know I am not a huge Lisa Barlow stan, but I saw this comment on social media that was in her defense that kind of resonated with me, that she was pretty much ridiculed by the other ladies for showing emotion and talking about her marriage on the reunion. I did think it was kind of odd. It was like nobody wanted to hear it. They were kind of all talking over her. And like after I saw this comment, I was like, what if that actually was Lisa trying to show a deeper layer?
I totally know what you mean. And I think the women were almost like, yeah, well, because they agreed with John. They were like, yeah, well, he was saying you don't listen to him and you don't listen to us either. It's like, okay, maybe Lisa does need to work on her listening skills, but this is her marriage. And it was very upsetting for her to have her husband go against her on camera. Like she said, I would rather die than make John look bad. I'm not going to point out like his fault on camera. So I totally appreciated that point, but the women are so set on the idea of like Lisa doesn't listen to anybody. See, she doesn't even listen to John, that they didn't even. I agree with you.
They didn't hear her. So there you go, guys. So I'm standing up for Lisa Barlow. I know we briefly talked about that Britney situation where Meredith called Britney anti-Semitic, but wanted to bring it kind of back up because we got to hear more about it after Britney came back to stage after her runoff with a cup of coffee.
Do we think it was coffee?
God knows. Who knows what is in there? Definitely could have been
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we saw the beginning of it in the second part of the reunion, but the third part, I agree, it was really explained better. And none of the women believe that Brittany had any idea that this manicurist had said anti-Semitic comments. All of the women said she's already apologized to you, Meredith. Again, I think Meredith is looking to get her distracted.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's looking to turn the audience against her, because if the audience believes that she is friends with an anti-Semite, they will think that she's an anti-Semite, and it could possibly get her off the show. Even Andy was not letting Meredith get away with it. He was like, I don't see why you're turning this into her being an anti-Semite. Maybe she just doesn't like you. Because Meredith tried to correlate the fact that her and Brittany don't get along, and Brittany getting her nails done by somebody who may have at one time made an anti-Semitic comment, to Brittany not liking Meredith because she's Jewish.
Yeah.
And it's like, Andy was like, no, that connection is not the case. Everyone was calling Meredith out. They all have her number, which begs the question. Even Andy was calling her out. Production obviously isn't happy. She's always complaining about her. So I have to ask again. Brooke's got this spinoff. She was constantly featured on Next Gen. What's the scoop? I think Brittany, who I'm not a huge fan of, in this case, I was on her side.
Mm-hmm.
It's wrong. It's really not okay to try to trick people into thinking something that we know that Meredith doesn't even believe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I felt like she was just in her attorney mode, trying to build a case, which she's very good at. Correlation doesn't equal causation. And just because it was bullshit, I'm going to say something bold.
Okay.
I think after this reunion, with watching what she was doing to Brittany, hearing from even Andy what she does to production, I think I'd rather see her go than Whitney.
Oh, well, thank you. I believe that was my thought last week.
Yes, and I was not agreeing with you. And it was almost like you had a screener. Hey, Bravo, send us screeners, please. It was almost like you had a screener, because this reunion really, I think it was the production part for me.
I get it. For me, it's been her whole season. I believe.
For me, it's every little thing about her from the second I met her. Now,
but no, I've been feeling that way, and feeling we haven't really seen her take accountability. She's calling people out for lying and then being like, no, I didn't really even say you, Heather. Going on about one word, and then putting all the focus about it, doing the magician trick, right? Where it's like, look over here, but don't look at what's really going on. And that she's been doing that for so long. I mean, We are not stupid. We see her slur her words.
Yes.
We hear it, but she won't talk about it. Everything's fine,
And with that, does that mean that we think she's a drug addict, alcoholic? No. Do I believe, based on watching this woman for 6 seasons, based on being an adult who has lived life and been around tons of people drinking and everything else, do I believe that she mixes some form of pill or something with alcohol? Yes.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, yeah, well, I did take that sleeping pill that one time, but you guys did too, which I think is her point. I think it's well, we all do it. But for whatever reason, it's like anything else. Some things are more noticeable. Some people can drink and not slur, and some people drink and slur. And she drinks and slurs. She drinks and does whatever and slurs. So.
Right. But that's been my frustration with her, is she's trying to do it to us too, the fans who are watching, and we're like, we know what we're seeing here. Stop trying to tell us, stop gaslighting us.
It would have served her so much better for her to say, you know what? When I fly, I may have a glass of wine and then take an Ambien or a Xanax. And so when I wake up, I may seem a little out of it, but we all do it. Everyone on this couch does it, except maybe Mary. You know what I mean?
But
Lisa, Whitney, you all do it too. It's not a big deal.
Or you don't even have to drag anybody else under the bus. Just say, yes, I do this because I am an anxious flyer, and it helps me get through the flight without having a panic attack. Fine.
But I think the reality is that she doesn't want to be seen in that light because it isn't safe to mix any sort of sleeping pill and alcohol, and you shouldn't do that. So that is why. But the reality is that we believe as viewers she does. So we don't like to be lied to. So either don't do it on camera. It reminds me of Sonia when Sonia used to take it. And then remember, she finally admitted, she's like, well, I take water pills and have some wine. It's like, okay, so you're mixing pills and wine.
Right.
Like, don't do that because you look crazy.
I think my other issue and has been with Meredith is that what I was saying earlier, where she acts like she's better than everybody else and almost acts like she's not really, like she acts like she's almost more of an observer, but not, she's like, I'm not really down in the muck with you. I'm a little bit better. I'm not really going to tell you about what's actually going on in my life. You know, I'm not gonna, you know, and Bronwyn said, you know, that's our job. It is our job. Anyway, I don't have like a thing against Meredith. I just mostly am feeling tired of her gaslighting us as fans as well. And calling out production, to your point, I feel like that could be a tipping point for her. So, Okay, let's move on to OC. So we know that casting, or at least rumors about casting, had been kind of all over the place, but cameras are up on Monday. Very quick turnaround. Everyone's coming back, minus Gretchen and Katie. Obviously, cocktailers knew about that weeks ago.
So some of the details of this, I have to say for Cocktail, because I was asked to by the people who told me. Okay. But we can share plenty. First, I want to start with saying, you guys, if you listen every week, you understand that a lot of our emails are sent to us, and try sometimes to like do a little asterisk and write, like, this comes from anywhere. I don't necessarily believe it. Right. The reason that I like to post it is because exactly what happened this week. I got an email saying Emily wasn't coming back. I didn't believe that was true. I hadn't heard that. I know that cameras are going up Monday. So I also know that the window would have passed for when she would have been able to announce it. And so the network would have announced it themselves like they did with Gretchen. But the reason I posted it is because when I do, I get sources reach out to me and say, that's baloney. And this is what the truth is. Right. So that's why sometimes I'll post an email and say, like, I'm not sure I believe this. It's because I'm trying to get the real stuff, just so you're ever confused. If I ever say it's a source, that's like a Bravo and Cocktail source told me, like, we know it's true.
Right. And that sources are insiders, people who have actual knowledge, not just like somebody who's
Gretchen and Katie. Yeah. We posted that as a source. I knew they weren't coming back. The Emily thing, listen, because the reality is at the last minute, could they have decided for Emily not to be back? Yes. So I was floating that out there to be like, hey, like I'm flagging you guys. And so that was that. I don't mind the nonsense emails because it actually ends up to us facilitating like good intel.
We have all the emails.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. Some of them are.
And I feel like I don't want to
annoy because they're really funny.
And I feel like sometimes it may be annoying to you guys. So I just wanted to like remind why we do that.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because I'm not Emily. I'm not the one signing the contract. So sometimes I do want to float things because I second guess stuff that I get. Amanda, your thoughts on the cast?
I still like Emily. I think she plays a good role on the show. Sometimes she's a shit stirrer, but she's also really fun. I liked Katie at first, but then I didn't like the way that she was trying to produce everyone. So I really, especially the last season, I did not like that. I don't mind that she's gone. Gretchen, I was happy to see her at the beginning of the season, but then felt like something was very fishy about that drugging story. And I think that either she or Slade had something to do with that. And that's gross. Good riddance. If season 20 is all about nostalgia, I am interested to see what the new iteration, with Vicky being back, what the new iteration of the Trace Amigas is, or if it'll exist at all. Vicky, obviously, she can be a little annoying, but she's always entertaining, and I think that's almost kind of her charm. So I look forward to seeing her back.
I'm relieved about Gretchen. I could not stand her. She was like Alexis for me. It was like, we're doing this again. I don't dislike Emily. I don't think she's the most exciting, but I'm fine with her being back. Like, it wouldn't be like Gretchen, who I was like, ugh. I do think Emily is going to come for Tamra because her and Tamra at the reunion were going at it. They have not settled that beef. And if you ask me, I'm sure Tamra didn't want her back because Tamra's kind of on weak footing. She tried to make an alliance with Katie. Obviously, Katie's not back. Emily isn't happy with her. So Gina will be okay with Tamra, but she never really trusts her. And Emily is her girl. Shannon has no use for her. She's got Vicky. But you know how many times they've turned on each other? That is as thin as I wouldn't skate on that ice.
Right.
Well, and the other stuff, like we have some stuff from filming the girls' trip. So Tamra always finds a way to turn it around. I have to give it to her. And I know we all say she's toxic, and Tamra is there to make a good show. I feel like I'm interested to see how she turns this around. I'm interested to see what she does this season 20.
I am also interested, especially in the Tamra and Emily angle, because I think they actually did develop a really good friendship. I listened to, Emily would come on to Tease in a Pod quite a bit. Emily was given the Legally Brunette show that is...
Is she still doing that show?
I should look. It's not Tamra's show, but it's under the Two T's umbrella.
You know how I was saying in regards to Kenya, you and I were both saying like she got too big for her britches? I think that if this was Tamra when she had first come back to the show, I think Tamra's first instinct was to go into it and make amends with Emily so that they would be cool. Like even how she did with Shannon, although Shannon didn't really give her what she wanted. I think that Tamra is back feeling comfortable. She's been back on the show a few seasons. I'm not sure if she's going to do what she should do, which is bury the hatchet with Emily. I think she may expect Emily to kiss the ring a little bit, and I don't think Emily is going to. So I think if Tamra comes to Emily and tries to squash it, I think Emily will be cool with that. I think if Tamra comes to it and expects Emily to kind of kiss the ring for a podcast or for a whatever, I think Emily's going to buck that, and I think that they'll be full season. It depends on how Tamra approaches it. And something tells me, shout out to you, Tamra, if you're listening, that Tamra is in a space where she's feeling comfortable and won't do it. But if I had any advice, Emily's very strong-headed. I would say to Tamra, I'm not saying she's got to kiss Emily's ring, but come to a I did some wrong, you did some wrong, but we had a good friendship. Let's meet in the middle would be Tamra's best bet, because that would have Emily not coming for her and Gina. Not that I think Gina's going to necessarily come for Tamra, but she's not going to not come for Tamra. Does that make sense?
No, I would agree. So I am looking, by the way, and she is definitely still doing the podcast. It looks like she's doing at least a couple a week. She's already put out 59 of them since I think this started back in September of last year. So
here's the thing.
It's what's hard to tell is it still part, because it looks like the two T's are still putting some of her shows on their feed every once in a while to promote it.
Well, here's the thing. Whatever their show beef is, Tamra does not own whatever pod company they're under. So long as Emily's podcast is profitable for the pod network, number one, Tamra's not going to not get her cut, and the pod network isn't going to let the pod go. You know what I mean? I haven't listened to the pod, but I do know that Emily's very bright, and if it's a legal podcast, I'm sure it does pretty well. Emily, her and Gina, which is, I know a lot of us are always like, I don't know how they've been on the show this long. I can tell you they have to have high Q scores. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been on the show this long. And if they have high Q scores, that means people are listening to her pod.
Yeah. No,
do you know what I mean?
It's clearly doing well, which is good for her.
Yeah, very good for her. I think it's very interesting that Vicky, Shannon, and Tamra, and I'm going to assume, and I forget now, did Emily and Gina film when they were in the OC? Probably. But I just think it's going to be very interesting. They just had a girls' trip, and whatever transpired there, the OC ladies, unlike the other women who are going to get some sort of a break in between their next season and some time to sort through and let time pass, right? The OC women are picking cameras up on Monday.
Yeah.
So whatever Shannon and Tamra and Vicky and Emily and Gina had Ola doing when they were at the Bunko party in the OC, they're rolling right into filming with that, which is going to make for some really hot. I think it's just the steam's going to, they're going to be going in hot.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
There's no time. Yeah. There's no time for things to simmer down. They're currently, there's no simmer.
Where do you think the Tres Amigas, what do you think the new iteration will be? Do you think there will be a situation where Shannon and Vicky are cool with each other and Tamra and Vicky are cool with each other, but Shannon and Tamra are not cool with each other?
I think that over the course of so many years, that friendship amongst all of them has been desecrated beyond belief. And I think they're able to make amends to do a little ad deal or even have a lunch. But I think when push comes to shove, there's too much betrayal there and there's not enough trust. And even though they have some fond memories where if they weren't filming a show together and they bumped into each other at an event, they could get along for the afternoon and even have a nice time together, I don't believe they're going to be able, any of them. I don't think like Shannon and Vicky. I don't think Vicky and Tamra. I don't think any of them, any version of it is going to work. And I think this is going to be Vicky's going to be one and done with this. I think we've seen Vicky in a friend of capacity the last couple of times she's been on, although she wasn't on 19, but she was on 17 and 18. And everything we've seen is when the fighting started, she's like, this is why I'm happy I don't have to do this anymore. I think she's going to bring that energy. And I think that the network is going to wrap it up with a bow and send her off into the sunset. And if we do see her again, if there is a 21 and the cast is similar, it'll be Vicky shows up at a lunch. But I think full-time Vicky is done after season 20.
Yeah. I mean, to your point, how these women can even go under the pretense of trying to be friends again is beyond me. Because think about how much has happened. Vicky spreading rumors about Tamra's husband being gay. Shannon dropping her friendship with Vicky when Vicky was on pause. Tamra outing Shannon's dad just most recently as a negligent alcoholic. I don't know that these women can ever be real friends. I completely agree with you.
And I think Vicky's just going to have such a low tolerance for it because we saw that when she was, you know what I mean?
And that makes sense because I think you and I in our lives have a much lower tolerance just coming with age and wisdom for BS from people. That would make sense to me.
Yeah. We love you guys. I will keep posting everything I hear. Yeah. Till next time.
Thanks, everybody.
What's up, cocktailers? We want to thank you, as always, for listening to Cocktails and Gossip. Because of you, we've hit some amazing milestones, had some hilarious conversations, and have grown a truly amazing community. If you haven't already followed our podcast, hit the follow button in the top right of your Apple Podcast player, the follow button under the show logo on Spotify, or the subscribe button on Google Podcasts. We thrive on you, our audience. So make sure to tell all your gossip-loving friends about us too. And if you want to get all the tea, join our membership cocktail party by going to bravoandcocktails.com/join. Our members get access to the exclusive tea we post, the weekly podcast without ads, plus another additional bonus podcast every week. And of course, members also get to join us on our monthly live cocktail party Zoom, where we talk about the latest tea and even share tea that's just too hot to put in writing. Last, but maybe best, our members get access to the Cocktail Party Discord, where you can chat with Amanda, me, and all of the other cocktailers as well. There are always some great convos and hilarious comments happening in Discord. Thank you guys so much for listening. We appreciate you.